I mean, tell me you don't feel good after cleaning something up. After, yes, sure, but the real joy is in the doing of it. We were walking out of the coffee shop in the parking lot, and my partner, she looks at me and she says, "Don't we kind of have boring lives?" And we had just left from none other than Tim Hortons for lunch. I know, Tim Hortons for lunch. Well, let me tell you, Americans, if you ever come up to Canada, go to Tim Hortons and try their chili. It is really, really, really good. Now, I do like chili personally, more than average, so maybe I'm a bit biased and I am Canadian and like Tim Hortons, but try the chili. But anyways, she says, like we just had lunch at Tim Hortons and we were kind of just driving around looking at various things for home renovation projects, floor tiles, wall tiles, and cabinets and all kinds of random things. And we kind of laughed about that. And why? Well, yeah, I suppose in some sense you could look at that and say that that's a boring life. We had a boring day, perhaps. But really, we enjoyed ourselves. And it got me thinking about this idea that much of life is actually very boring, if you think about it. Now, it might not be boring for you, and it might be, and I'm going to dissect why that's the case. But just this idea that most of life is boring. In fact, if you watch any adventure movie or action movie, you always see the highlights. You see people sprinting and jumping across buildings, and you see Bilbo Baggins grabbing some treasure and bringing it home, and you see him fighting orcs, and you see Luke Skywalker doing backflips with the Force and all this crazy crap. Yeah, those are the highlights. And unfortunately, in a movie, that's all you really see. So all of the adventure is broken down into an hour and a half. But what you don't see all the time that Luke Skywalker spends on his ship, flying in between planets. You don't see all the boring time that Bilbo Baggins spent, the days and weeks and months just simply walking. You don't see the character climbing up the building one staircase at a time, every step, every ladder he had to take to get to the top of the building. You don't see these things. All you see are the highlights. And everything in between, those are the boring parts that we don't see. And so it can give us this false sense of reality that life is going to be full of adventure, of these really exciting moments. In reality, they're not. In reality, most of life is boring. Have a look at the last 7 days of your life. Have a look and break it down. What did you spend most of your day doing? Like probably the same thing. Like you get up in the morning, maybe you get your coffee, you have a shower, you get ready for work, you go to work, you work. Your work is probably somewhat monotonous because for you to get paid to do something, you have to do it well. And for you to do something well, you have to do it over and over again. So you probably do a very similar thing over and over again. And then you come home, maybe you watch some TV, maybe you hang out with your partner, your kids, and you go to bed. And there's some meals scattered in there. There's some bathroom breaks scattered in there. Maybe you call a friend, maybe you text a friend, maybe you see some funny memes. But overall, most of your days are very similar. And then if you look back in the last week, maybe there's like one moment that stands out or two moments that stand out as being exciting. But also maybe not. Maybe the last week, it was pretty much every day was the same thing. So most of life, if you think about it, most of your days, most of your day, hour to hour, is actually stuff you do all the time. It's boring stuff. But boring, that word, boring is a matter of perspective. So I'm saying it's boring. But what I really mean is it's monotonous. It's the same thing over and over again. However, the stoic that you are, you can choose to look at that through a different lens. And let me give you the best example that I can muster. The best example. And yes, it's a personal example, but I have a feeling that you, dear listener, might actually relate to this. Hey there. Let me thank you for being a listener to this ad-free podcast. If you enjoy the podcast, there are a few things you can do to help me out. A 5-star review on Spotify or wherever you're listening to this really does help, and it's free. You can also sign up for my Substack newsletter or Patreon. Substack free gets each episode emailed to you along with the transcripts in the form of an article. You'll also get access to my live talks, followed by a Q&A afterward. Substack Premium supporters and my patrons on Patreon get access to the recordings and a brief article of those Q&A sessions, access to full episodes of the Paradoxically Speaking podcast, my Steps to Success interview series, Stoic meditations, and much more. Links to Substack and Patreon can be found in the show notes. When I get up in the morning, hell, even the night before, when I'm getting ready to go to bed, sometimes, I get really excited about my first cup of coffee. Now, I'm a coffee snob. I'm a coffee nerd. I weigh my beans. I grind them myself. I pour it just right. I make sure the water's not too hot. Yes, I'm a coffee nerd. I'm a coffee snob. But I really enjoy that first cup of coffee. Every sip. And I get excited for it. Again, sometimes even the night before. Now, if you were to look at this and say, okay, Uncle Strong Stoic, he drinks a cup of coffee every morning. His first cup of coffee, every morning, he does the same thing. So it's boring. But you would be wrong. You would be wrong because that first cup of coffee is very, very enjoyable. Even making that first cup of coffee is very enjoyable. The point here is that everything you do in your day has the potential to be exciting if you look at it through the right lens. So you can not enjoy making that cup. You can not enjoy sipping the cup. Maybe you're a person who just drinks coffee. You don't like the taste. You hate it, but you drink it just because it wakes you up. Maybe you force your way through that. You can be that person, or you can be the person who, every time you have a cup of coffee, you enjoy it. And the cup of coffee here, of course, is an example, but this is the case for everything else that you do in your daily life. Everything. You can enjoy going to the gym. You can enjoy making your bed. You can enjoy folding your laundry. Now, I'm sure you're saying, well, hold on a minute. I get the coffee. How the hell do I enjoy doing laundry? Because if anyone can shed some light on how that's enjoyable, please tell me. Well, if you fold laundry in peace, you turn your phone off, you don't want YouTube in the background, and you can just enjoy the simplicity of the task. You can just enjoy folding your clothes. You can enjoy putting it away. You can enjoy transforming something from chaos, which is what unfolded laundry is, into order, which is what folded laundry is. it can actually be quite enjoyable for you. I mean, tell me you don't feel good after cleaning something up. After, yes, sure, but the real joy is in the doing of it. So yes, you can enjoy folding your laundry. You can enjoy going to bed at the same time every night. Or you can choose to look at it through the perspective of, I don't get to watch another episode of this show, therefore I don't enjoy this. You can enjoy getting up in the morning. You can enjoy everything if you view it through the right perspective. Now, of course, I have to state the caveat that there are some things in life that are just painful to get through. But even those things, I would argue that with the right perspective, you can actually enjoy. Grieving. You can enjoy the grieving process. I mean, grieving at the end of the day is just nature's consequence of love. For you to love something, it creates this full hole in your body. And when that's gone, there's a grieving process that your mind and soul has to reconstruct around that. But you can learn to enjoy that. Because after all, it points to something very deep, which is love. I would challenge you, dear listener, to look at your day, look at your life, and ask yourself, how much of this am I not enjoying? Not because they're not enjoyable, because remember, you're a stoic and you cannot say that, but because I'm choosing to not enjoy them. How much of my life do I feel like is boring when really I'm just failing to see the beauty in the little things in life? And a simple life, there's nothing wrong with a simple life. That doesn't mean that you can't go on an adventure every now and then. That doesn't mean that you can't have highlights. But it means that you're aware that most of your life is doing the same thing over and over again. And if you can learn to enjoy that, if you can learn to enjoy that cup of coffee, enjoy getting up, enjoy going to bed, enjoy that work, you're simply going to have a happier life.